Episode 3 of Bikes with Drew. So I'm still waiting on a whole bunch of parts to get here, but I did receive the grips like I was showing you in the last video. I did also order a new stem and new handlebars, but I kind of want to get these grips that are basically, they're junk, they're no good anymore. I want to get these off. I'm going to fire these on now, even though it means when my new handlebars get here I'm going to have to pull everything off, but I'm going to have to do that anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. So we're going from just a plain slip-on rubber grip on here, which, as you can see, come off fairly easily. This is what we're replacing. And we're putting on this style, which is basically very similar, but it's got two locks on either end there. And that's going to allow me to put it on the handlebar and lock it in place so it's not going to slip around. So hopefully you can see fairly well from the angle I've set up here. This is where the old grip was sitting, and all I'm going to do is loosen up the new grip and slide it right into where the other one was. Again, I have more parts coming, but I really just want to get a bit more safer and not have grips that are going to slide around on me all the time. So make sure you grab the right size Allen key. There was one in the box, but I prefer to use my own stuff. Loosen up the two ends, and this should just slide right into place to where the old one was. Yep. So I kind of want to have the locks away from where I can see them all the time, so I'm going to put them here and then tighten those back down. It actually worked out good that these are, oh look at that, I'm going to have to go a little bit longer. So here, I'll show you guys what's happening here. If you look at that little gap right in there, it's going to be kind of hard to see. These handlebars actually go on not as far as the old one. So if I'm using the clamp right here, it's not actually tightening on the bar. So what that means, I'm going to have to shift the brake lever and the shifter down the whole tube a little bit, down the whole handlebar, in order to make enough room for this grip. So what I'm doing is just sliding them over a little bit, enough that I'll be able to fit them, but I'm not tightening them down, because once the grip is where I want it, I'm going to readjust where my brake and shifter line up so it's comfortable for my hand. Everybody's a little bit different. If you've got, you know, orangutan thumbs that hang out really far, but it's good to make sure that you're comfortable with where your controls are going to be so your cockpit's nice and set up. Okay, so now that I have those moved out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and put the grip back on and have it go right to the edge there so that it's nice and flush right here. So if you remember before it was sitting like that, now my grip can sit nice and flush like that. So now that that grip is back on here, that's not going anywhere. That's locked in there nice and tight. So I can slide my brake back over to it. And I'll tighten that. And then same thing with the shifter. I'll slide that over and tighten that. So the grip's back on, like where everything's sitting, and it's good and tight. Give you guys a better look at what that looks like. All right, so that immediately feels much better than the grip on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this side as well. I'll speed up the footage for you guys so you don't have to see me retighten everything again. And we'll see you in a second here. Okay, so now that I've got the grips back on both sides, let me show you guys a little something that I figured out here. So these are the end caps that came with the handlebar, or with the grips, sorry. And basically what happens is that end goes into your handlebar, and as you tighten this screw, these little wings here will fan out like this and hold it inside the bar. The only problem though is that that doesn't even fit to begin with inside my handlebars that I have on there right now. So, you know, I did say that I've got other ones on the way, but even just installing these, one of the screws is awfully close to being stripped already. So I don't know exactly how I feel about them. I'm still going to go and take them out for a rip, but these might end up being returned, and then I might pay a little bit more for a better set. But either way, so now we've got new grips on there, and let's take it out for a rip. Alright, well, the old saying of you get what you pay for, right? These grips are terrible. I had them down there pretty tight. One of them's already slipping like crazy. The other one's got like a weird, I don't know if you can hear that, it's got like a weird crunch inside. I mean, not to mention the end caps don't fit. I felt less safe on these than I did on these old worn out, the grips that came with it. So I think these are gonna be returned. You know, I feel like this screw here is already, like when I was putting it on, was already starting to strip. So getting it off, I might just actually strip it entirely. It just goes to show, you know, sometimes it's worth to pay a little bit more for things. I want to say these were $15 on Amazon. Yeah, I'm gonna return them and maybe look for something that's a little bit better here. I'll film it, but I'll speed through the details of me pulling it off and stuff. You don't need to see that, but yeah, these PLATT, P-L-A-T-T, PLATT grips, garbage. So there you have it. I'm all sweaty, had to cut my ride short. I have the old grips back on here. Yeah, these guys. Amazon's really good about returns, so we're gonna return those, but yeah, just not good. That's kind of the fun, I shouldn't say fun, it's the interesting thing about rebuilding a bike right now is that most stores, well, some of them now are starting to do like curbside pickup and stuff, but you can't necessarily go into a shop and feel grips and things like that. So to the post office, return, and we'll see what else we can find on Amazon. Till then, you know, stay tuned and see you around.